So here is Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, who I'm listen, obviously it's hard for me to be in any way objective. I'm a conservative libertarian. I don't like what they're doing at the White House, but trying for a moment to be objective, Jen Psaki is just doing an awful job. She just is. She is definitely no Kayleigh McEnany. I can tell you that. My mother always used to say, I can tell you that. Here's video here of Kayleigh McEnany having to circle back on herself, talking about the immigration crisis. We're not allowed to call it a crisis. Except she does. And watch her catch herself later. And this is one of the most embarrassing cuts from a White House press secretary I've ever seen. Check this out.
Were there expectations set with the Mexicans that they help deal with the situation on the border?
There have been expectations set outside of unrelated to any vaccine doses or requests for them that they would be partners in dealing with the crisis on the border.
When you were talking a moment ago about diplomatic negotiations between the United States and Mexico, you said crisis on the border. Was that a
challenges on the border?
Dude, so weak. This is so weak. Isn't this pathetic? This is so sad and pathetic. No. Challenges. Did I say crisis? You have 100,000 people a month crossing into a country. We have no idea who they are, completely gaffing off our immigration laws. Like, whatever. Immigration. We're just going to cross the border when we feel like it. And Psaki, she's like, yeah, all right, it's a crisis. No, I didn't mean crisis. It's just a challenge at the border. Weak and pathetic. What's really going on? Totally pathetic. The border's collapsing, folks. That's obvious. And I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret here that I've heard from my sources. Biden absolutely knows it. He knows this administration, they're in a lot of trouble at the border. And why? Because, folks, you can't ignore it anymore. Cameras are pervasive now. Social media, for all my beefs with Twitter and Facebook, it's pervasive. Pretty much everyone in America either has a Facebook, Twitter, or Parler, or Gab, Cloud Hub account, whatever it may be. Or you know someone who does. And with the pervasive nature of cameras and camera technology and phones, you can't hide the crisis anymore. People who live in Texas, Arizona, even Southern California, New Mexico, they just have to go out and say, look at what's going on. I saw this at the border. Journalists, independent journalists writing on Substack and elsewhere, not subjected to the media propaganda machine, are taking videos of literally lines of hundreds of immigrants using coyotes to cross the Rio Grande and enter the United States illegally. Everybody sees it. Folks, that wasn't that easy to do back in the Reagan era. Nobody had a camera phone. You had to get a news crew down there. You had to get a satellite truck in. Nobody has to do that anymore. There was no internet in the Reagan era. What did you do? You had to get a satellite truck, wire everything, run cable to get. That's not happening anymore. Biden he's being bombarded with social media clips of immigrants just wildly crossing the border all over the United States. Hundreds of people walking in, and they're now recognizing this is not working. We've got to do something. So what are they doing? Look at this great article by Twitchy. Be in the newsletter today. What are they doing? You want to talk about an epic fail? The same guy who bashed Trump endlessly about his immigration policies, is now emulating Trump's immigration policies, basically tacitly admitting Trump was right the whole time. Here's an article by Twitchy by Doug P. New York Times reports Biden administration's quietly reverting to echoing Trump-era policies to slow migrants headed to the U.S. So, just to be clear, they've spent the last, what is it, Joe? Now 2 years since the campaign and the election, everything. Last 2 years calling Trump a misogynist, a racist, what we call the istophobic phobophobes.
Yes.
Put any word with an ist or, Gee, do you know about istophobic phobophobes? It makes sense, right? Any word with an ist or misogynist, racist, transphobe, homophobe. That's what they've been calling Trump for the past 2 years. So if Trump is all those things, then why exactly is the Biden administration realizing through the pervasive use of cameras that, and by the way, they don't care about illegal immigration. But don't think for a second I'm suggesting to you, I want to be crystal clear because I don't want to get a lot of hate mail on this, that Biden and his administration give a damn about illegal immigration. They want it. Are we clear? Everybody cool? Thumbs up?
Amen.
Thank you. I just want to be sure. I don't want to. They want it. What's bothering them is the cameras, maybe I wasn't clear enough, are creating a political problem for them. They don't consider illegal immigration a problem at all. The cameras are creating a political problem they know they have to fix. Here, from the Twitchy piece, quote, now that reality's kicked in, Biden's saying, don't come over. However, they're still coming over. And the New York Times is reporting that the Biden administration is taking drastic measures, and that seems to include a return to Trump policy. In the Twitchy piece, you can see this tweet from the New York Times. Breaking news. The Biden administration is quietly pressing Mexico to curb migrants coming to the U.S. That sounds like something Trump did. Mexican officials said, a move echoing Trump-era policies. Can I tie this back to the beginning why I love economics so much? Because again, economics divorces you from the emotion of a conversation and makes you focus on the reality of it. What do people work for? Where do they choose to work? When they work to get money, where do they spend that money? That's what matters, not what they say they want. Oh, I want a bunch of liberal policies. Well, what does economics say about liberal policies? It says that in places where liberal policies dominate, people are moving out, taking the money they earn to buy houses to get away from liberal policies. So you can talk all the, you get the word, you can talk all the smack you want. The hard reality is economics, the dismal science of economics says you are full of stuff. Because when you vote liberal policies in places like New York and California, you see a mass exodus from those states. You may say you love open borders and illegal immigration, but once you realize the hard economics of how people allocate their time and voting patterns, and you start to study that, you realize you got a political problem when what you said you wanted, illegal immigration, actually happens and people find out about it.